Hello everyone, my name is Szymon. I work as a Sitecore developer for the Intiv, and currently I'm supporting one of the largest biotech companies with their Sitecore projects. Today I'd like to, in very few and short words, tell you about using Sitecore roles without having any users in the Sitecore database. The first question is, why would we like to have this kind of setup? If we can create users, why not have them? There can be a couple of common scenarios. So we would like to have a single sign-on into multiple applications, so our users don't have to create profile for every separate system. We might have large amount of users because the membership database doesn't scale well up to some levels of users. We might get or inherit the database with users from other systems and just have to start using it. Or what is very popular today, because of the GDPR, if we have many systems that use user data, we might want to keep them in one place to provide the GDPR compliancy, to easily remove their data instead of synchronizing with different systems. So I'd like to show you how it works and what I did. I've created a simple setup, proxy website, where actually two websites, one for serving user data, and the other one is Sitecore that will make use of the data from the external website. So let me switch to my fictional website built in Sitecore and SXA. Actually, SXA is just used because it was quicker. However, it has some advantages. We would like to mostly focus on this component. It's a page list, so it displays 3 elements from certain branch of page. And the scenario is that we have users from different countries and would like to present them potential adventures. If we have adventure from Australia, we don't want to show them to users from Australia because they are basically fighting the monster spiders every day, and that's not an attraction for them. So whenever someone from Australia comes in, we would like to hide this and show something else. Probably they might be more interested in. If we have the user in the database, that would be very simple. We would just assign the user to a certain role and then restrict this page from the role. However, if we don't have the user, we can do this easily. Or, well, actually we can. So if I log in, I'm taken to a completely different application that's written in ASP MVC. It doesn't have access to Sitecore database. It just have all the user information. I can log into my fictional Australian guy with the standard Sitecore password. Then I get the information from the user carried over in the cookie using JWT, but this is just a means of transferring data. We can do this anyway. It doesn't have to be JWT. And now if we see the page list shows different content, we've simply hidden the information from the user. So to prove my words, I'll just show you that this is the actual Sitecore application that I'm using.
It's slow than it is.
Yeah, it's slow. I've restarted IIS prior to this presentation, so content editor slow. Okay, so this is the website. Yeah. And here's my user manager. Oh. Wow, way too much. Okay, so only 4 users. Nothing special. And if we look at the fighting monster spiders page into the security, oh no, not the sign. Yeah, that's fine as well. You can see that there's a group assigned which has inheritance restricted, so whoever belongs to that group can see the page. But if we look at the row, actually, numbers of the row, it's empty. So how does it work? The authenticator is my fictional authentication service. It just creates a JWT token and put it into the cookie. In the token, we have information about the country of the user. Now, once we load, resolve, or run the HTTP begin processor, we resolve virtual user and parse the JWT cookie and create new virtual user and assign the role in the runtime to the user, and then we can make use of this user just as it was normal regular Sitecore user. So that way we can assign roles to pages and control access without actually knowing who we have to deal with. Okay, so going back to some theory. So the answer to our problem, how to use Sitecore roles without actually having any users, is the virtual user. They exist only in memory, so we can build them at runtime. We can assign them admin any roles. We can make them admin, and during the lifetime of the request, they act as normal Sitecore regular users. They are created in a very simple way, so we actually have two methods. Build virtual user that creates the user object, and then logging virtual user, so we log in them without password because we don't actually need one. And of course the assigning roles, that's pretty standard Sitecore routine. Now how the roles are actually mapped from the cookie to the user roles. We have a property and the value, and we are mapping this property and value to a role. So if we have Australia, we will create country AU. For other countries, we would have to create different roles. This can be the same can be done for Boolean properties. We just map, create new roles and start using them. Of course, once we have the roles, we can group them into other roles and combine them into some more general roles. Now, the cons of this is that we end up with lots of roles. For example, if we have lots of countries which are then grouped into some logical sets, and we have to manually create those roles, because we might not have to use all the combinations and create them in the fly. So someone has to actually create the role for every country by hand. However, we can make use of Sitecore APIs. We don't have to inject custom logic to check whether the user has a role or not. And yeah, we don't have to code. That's pretty important if we use, for example, SXA, which gives us lots of components, and changing them would be costly and wouldn't make any sense. And if we are taking this approach, we can just make use of personalization rules. There's a built-in rule to check if the user has any role assigned, or we can use the Sitecore security mechanism as I shown, just to hide some content or display it. How the workflow works. We still have to use the standard user resolver just to check whether author has logged in, if we have authors in the Sitecore database, because otherwise we would lose the ability to edit the content. That would be not good. Then we have to, of course, treat and validate what